man is dead after a day-long standoff in the Aroostook County town of Portage Lake yesterday.
State police say a baby is safe, one deputy is injured, and their K-9 was shot and killed.
Police responded to Ranger Street for a domestic dispute involving a woman and 29-year-old Stephen Riney.
According to police, the woman reported Riney had been fighting with her and pushed her into the wall. Troopers and deputies communicated with him and persuaded him to come outside.
Officers attempted to take him into custody, but police say he resisted, allegedly pulling a firearm from his waistband and firing at officers while retreating inside. Police say Riney later attempted to flee in a vehicle and fired a shot at the state K-9 unit. They tell us he also pointed a gun at officers.
Officers then fired at him. He was pronounced dead at the scene. The child was not injured and returned to her mother. The officers involved are on administrative leave, as is standard protocol.
Maine State Police say K-9 preacher died in the line of duty after being shot in the abdomen last night. State police say K-9 preacher was rushed to an emergency veterinary clinic in Presque Isle, where he was stabilized. They say despite the efforts of the veterinary staff, the 4-year-old dog died early this morning. They say preacher and his handler, Sergeant Jonathan Russell, served the Greater Southern Field Troop area and the Maine State Police tactical team.